I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now call this City Council regular meeting in City Hall Council Chambers at 389 Spruce Street in Morgantown, West Virginia, 26505 on Tuesday, October 1st, 2024 at 7 p.m. to order. If the clerk would be so kind as to take roll.
Yes. Bill Koecki?
Here.
Weezy Michael?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Here.
Danielle Trumbull?
Here.
Dave Harshbarger?
Here.
Brian Butcher?
Here.
Mayor Abu Ghanem?
Present. Now on to the approval of minutes for September 17th, special meeting, September 17th, regular meeting, September 24th, special meeting, and the September 24th committee of the whole meeting minutes.
I forwarded one change to the clerks. They had, Brian was counted absent at one of the meetings he was at, and that was correct.
Good. Have a motion, or there is no motion?
Move to approve.
There we go.
Second.
Proclamation.
Yep.
Yep, good. All right. Correspondence. First, we have the certificates. Well, we have the deputy city ambassadors, and this is going to be presented and discussed by our lead ambassador, Cam Allen. You saw him.
He's out there.
There he is.
He's there. They need to come.
All right. Well,
Hello, how are you all today?
Good.
It is? Okay,
sure.
Yep.
Yes.
sure, okay.
Cam, tell us what you did.
So, 2 Sundays ago, we were accompanied by Mayor Joe Abu Ghanem and several MHS students, and we did a cleanup tour through the downtown area, so High Street, Spruce Street, Chestnut. And I mean, the students really like put their whole heart into it. And then afterwards, we went back to City Hall and we gave them all certificates declaring them Deputy City Ambassadors.
I think it's also important to note that you introduced them to several businesses in the downtown area.
We did businesses like Tanner's Alley, Hoot and Howl, I'm trying to think of a few more, River Fair Trade.
All right. And I'm not trying to guide your own presentation here. So,
No, you're good. You're
okay. I know that this is something you were trying to do with WVU students as well. And this was the first group of deputy ambassadors. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. This has been our first group for a couple of months now, yeah.
And then I know you asked if you could come in here so we could also take a group photo. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Which then means I ask if council would be so kind as to go and stand for this group.
Could we get a brief introduction of each of the deputy city ambassadors who are here with us tonight? And we have one of our regular city ambassadors also with us here tonight.
I think that would be a wonderful idea, and I appreciate you interrupting me because I jumped way too far ahead, way too quickly.
Anytime.
Do you want to do the introductions, or would you like, how about everybody introduce yourselves for the public? No pressure. Everyone's just watching at home. Or we can do it.
Yeah, the 4 people.
You guys can totally do it.
Let's go.
Hello, my name's Chase Travis. I wrestle and play football for Morgantown High School, and I'm glad that we got the opportunity to help clean up. You know, it was fun. We had we hung out with friends after. You know, did.
All right. Good. Thank you, Chase.
My name is Tyler Travis, and I'm part of the wrestling team. I shoot Olympic style rifling, and yeah, I also had to help clean up the city.
Thank you.
I'm Addison Smith. I'm part of the MHS cross country and track teams, and it was a pleasure to work with the city ambassadors. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Sierra Deveridge, and I attend Morgantown High School as a junior, and I do track,
I'm a pole vaulter, and it was really great to get to clean up Morgantown and just make the city look nice.
My name is Alex Newbold. I'm a senior. I'm on the golf team and wrestling team, and I was happy to help clean the city.
I'm Jessie Hersom. I'm the other city ambassador, and I just want to say thank you guys for being our first group. It's really great that we've been able to get this new program off the ground.
Thank you. And
I had one last bit to say. I just wanted to, personally thank the individuals that were here to celebrate today, because, through my experience as a city ambassador, I meet very impassioned, emboldened people in the downtown area, who are focused on achieving their dreams or chasing their goals or connecting with their friends and family in the downtown area. And you know what? Those are the people I love, and those are the people that they serve today. And that's what they're getting celebrated for. So, honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And, thank you guys. You guys did awesome work, and I appreciate it. And then a compliment to, their determination for going out there and being bold and being brave. And I know if this city is filled with people like them who have strong hearts and even stronger wills, then tomorrow's going to be even better than today.
If we can take a group photo.
Yeah.
Now is it safe for the group photo?
Now it's safe. Go ahead.
Okay.
You guys can
I'll let you guys get up.
We'll go behind you. We'll go behind you guys.
Okay.
Last two.
We gonna be able to do this, huh?
Can you be my photographer?
Yeah, I got you. You gotta do something. I'll make sure to get Bill in there.
I do wonder who the wrestling coach is.
Wrestling.
A guy probably just pesters everybody.
There was some diversity, different sports.
And Cam had he presented that idea to me in August. So I know that he's been working on that for a while.
It's wonderful. That's great. Very cool.
All right. Next, we have a proclamation for Municipal Government Week.
Who's for Government Week?
Huh? Who's accepting this one?
I will.
You will? All right. Do we get to do it up here?
If you want.
Yes, let's go. I'm going to spend all my time on my feet tonight.
Okay.
And then before I read this, I should do an introduction of what municipal government week is. Sure. A quick backstory. For those that are here that are new to hear about it, when I got brought on city council 3 years ago, Christine Wade came to me and said, we're doing municipal government week, and being a school teacher would be a great opportunity to get everybody involved. And I've done the best I can. And so now what proclamation, and you can tell everyone about all the great things you have. All right. Whereas Governor Justice has proclaimed October 14th through the 18th of 2024 as Municipal Government Week in West Virginia, and encourages all citizens to become more informed about their government, and whereas all incorporated cities, towns, and villages in West Virginia provide services to their citizens, and whereas citizens of cities, towns, and villages may not be aware of those services and who is responsible for seeing they are efficiently provided, and whereas municipal officials desire to inform their citizens and to make them more aware of the investment made on their behalf, and whereas municipal officials are planning various events to better inform citizens during Municipal Government Week, and whereas one of the highest priorities is to educate in the Mountain State as to what municipal government is and positive impact it has on their lives, and whereas the West Virginia Municipal League will assist in educating citizens and installing positive perception of government, particularly at the municipal level. Now therefore I, Joe Abogano, Mayor of the City of Morgantown, West Virginia, do hereby proclaim the week of October 14th through the 18th, 2024 as Municipal Government Week. And that gives this to you. I say thank you.
Thank you.
There you are.
And I'm gonna
Go back to your
go
seat.
back to my seat, and I will share a little bit back there. I have some notes. Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so as the mayor said, Municipal Government Week is coming up and is third week of October, and we do have some things planned here in the city, and I'll share a few of those things with you now, but we're still making the planning, in the planning stations. So one of the things that we started last year, we did a Touch a Truck event, and that was a great success, and we did that at Eastwood Elementary, and so we took some, took a police cruiser and fire truck, and an airport de-icer, backhoe, bucket truck. I know I'm forgetting things. Parking authority vehicle with a boot. So those are some of those things. But anyway, we did that last year, and we did it at Eastwood, and the kids loved it, the teachers loved it, so we thought we're going to make this an annual event, and we're doing it again this year, and we'll be doing it at North Elementary, so we're going to another elementary school, so that will be open to the kids there at the school, so they'll be able to walk through and see all the vehicles and touch them and sit on them if they can, and there will be staffed with a staff from that department who will share a little bit of information about what that department does for the city and what it does for the cities, or for the citizens. So we thought that was a great event. We're going to do it again. This year we will be having a If I Were a Mayor essay contest. And there's a deadline. The deadline is going to be Thursday, October 17th by 5 p.m. I don't have all the details, but basically this notification is going to go to all of the local schools here in Morgantown, and there will be social media blasts out in LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook page to tell everyone how to do that. So it's pretty cool to find out what kids think what they would do if they were a mayor. And the ones we received last year were pretty interesting. Many of them were from young folks, young kids like 5th grade, and they wanted to have roller coasters in their parks. So anyway, we'll see what that's like. Another one is a coloring contest, and so those details are still in the planning stages. One day during that week, also, any parent or adult that wants to bring their child in to the city buildings, if they go to the police department or the fire department or buildings or any of the finance or code, they will receive a little goodie bag, and it has some coloring stuff in it and some stickers, a little police badge, and we're still stuffing those, or the communications department's still stuffing those. They've done a fantastic job, so spread the word for that. That will be out on social media too. Bring your kids in, let them talk to the people in our departments, and let them learn how they can get to know what the city does. And then also we will be celebrating our employees Last year, we took some cotton candy around to all of our employees and say, hey, we appreciate you. They did appreciate it. We're going to do that again this year, and we're going to ramp it up a little bit and give them a little bit more. So anyway, that's kind of what we're going to do this October.
Kind of, that's a lot. That's
Yeah.
awesome. All right, thank you. Next, we have the National Domestic Violence Awareness Month proclamation, and receiving that. Come to you. You want to introduce yourself?
All right.
You're on camera, yes, please.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Amaya Williams. I'm the Outreach and Volunteer Coordinator at the Rape and Domestic Violence Information Center, also known as RDVIC as short.
Thank you for being here. Whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy and dignity, security and humanity due to systemic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control and or abuse, including abuse to children and the elderly. And whereas domestic violence against the citizens of Monongalia County continues to affect every person in Monongalia County as a victim, survivor, or as a family member, domestic partner, friend, coworker, or neighbor of a victim or survivor. And whereas the problems of domestic violence are not confined to any groups of people, but cut across all economic, racial, gender, and societal barriers, and are supported by social indifferences. And whereas to prevent the future abuse of our citizens, it is critical to foster greater public awareness of the causes and effects of domestic violence, and to address this problem on every civic level. And whereas the staff of Rape and Domestic Violence Information Center, alongside volunteers, promotes domestic violence prevention by offering educational services in Monongalia County throughout the year. And whereas the Rape and Domestic Violence Information Center requests public support and assistance as it continues to work toward a society where all people can live in peace, free from violence and exploitation. Now, therefore, I, Joe Abugana, Mayor of the City of Morgantown, West Virginia, on behalf of City Council, in recognition of the important work done by the Rape and Domestic Violence Information Center, serving Monongalia, Preston, and Taylor counties, as well as all other domestic violence programs, proclaims the month of October 2024 as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the City of Morgantown, West Virginia, and urges all citizens to actively participate in the scheduled activities and programs to work towards improving victim safety and holding perpetrators of domestic abuse accountable for their actions against the individual victims and society as a whole. We commend this observance to all citizens. Thank you. There you
Okay, so for those who are not aware, RDVIC, I'll use the acronym just because it is very long. We work with people who have been affected by domestic violence as well as sexual violence, stalking, and human trafficking. National Domestic Violence Awareness Month is very important to us because a lot of times people think that domestic violence affects just individuals without realizing that it truly is a community issue. One thing that we're doing this year is a community-wide campaign called Paint the Town Purple. We are contacting organizations and businesses throughout Mon County to see if they would be interested in participating by doing a few things. The biggest one being hang up purple balloons outside of their offices, as well as a flyer, just so people can see what they're doing and what the purpose of the balloons are, as well as tagging us in WVU's Division of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion on Facebook and or Instagram. So we would love anyone who has a business, City Hall, we would love if you guys would be willing to participate. And for more information, you can contact our office, 304-292-5100, and ask for myself. And if you have my email, Brian, I know you do, you can send me an email and could reach out to me directly. And thank you guys for your continued support.
May I ask real quick, the purple balloons, like, what does that represent again? I'm sorry.
So purple is actually the symbol color for domestic violence awareness, so that's what that
So
represents.
it's just for awareness?
Yeah.
Wait, when?
It will be October 7th through the 14th.
Do you want residents to do it too?
Yes, residents can also participate. If you guys, as residents, would like balloons, also contact us and we can supply those as well.
I'm sorry, is it a specific balloon or just purple balloon?
Just anything purple.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank
right,
you so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate it. All right. We had balloons over the Morgantown proclamation, but it has been postponed. Is that correct? Or
Yes.
Postponed or canceled?
Postponed, but you can go ahead with the proclamation.
So go ahead and read it? All right. I wasn't sure if I would read it since it was postponed. I'm guessing you're going to be, let's see, and then Dr. Van F. Anderson?
I'm going to accept
John.
that.
You're going to accept on that? Okay, just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to assume.
We're going to be holding a special venue for Dr. Anderson, celebrating with his family and other balloonists from the region. And we're going to present everything to him at that point. He wasn't able to come tonight for this, so we're going to be presenting it to him here very shortly.
On that note, whereas Dr. Van F. Anderson has served as the balloon meister for the Balloons over Morgantown for almost 2 decades and is a highly respected figure in the community and the founder of the Mountaineer Balloon Festival, which originated back in 1984. This has since transitioned into the Balloons over Morgantown event. And whereas, with 3 decades of experience as a commercial balloon pilot, Dr. Anderson owns Fun Aviation, a balloon flying service in Morgantown, West Virginia, and holds a Doctor of Education degree and taught a class on manned ballooning at West Virginia University for 6 years, showcasing his commitment to education and community engagement. And whereas he achieved his pilot certification for gas ballooning in 1988 using a historic 1936 Goodyear-built Army Signal Corps balloon filled with 33,000 cubic feet of hydrogen, making it the oldest airworthy gas balloon in the world at the time. And whereas he served for 2 decades as an FAA designated pilot examiner, where he issued private and commercial pilot certificates for both hot air and gas balloons, and many pilots at the Mountaineer Balloon Festivals owe their certifications to his expertise and guidance. And whereas, as the chairman of the Mountaineer Balloon Festival during the first 5 years, Dr. Anderson has been a pivotal figure in promoting ballooning in our region. He is a 2-time recipient of the prestigious Sportsmanship Trophy at the Adirondack Balloon Festival from 1991 to 2007 and participated in the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta in 1991, one of the largest ballooning events in the world. And whereas throughout his career he has had the honor of piloting balloon flights for numerous distinguished individuals, including West Virginia Governor Joe Manchin, Congressman Harley O. Saggers, astronaut Sherwood C. Woody Spring, and John McBride, and Air Force One pilot Colonel Ralph Albertazzi. And whereas in addition to working in ballooning, he also is the camp administrator of Camp Mountaineer, a Boy Scout camp just south of Morgantown, further demonstrating his dedication to youth and community service. Now, therefore, I, Joe Abogano, Mayor of the City of Morgantown, West Virginia, and on behalf of City Council, would like to take the time to recognize Dr. Van F. Anderson in his last year in piloting during the Balloons Over Morgantown event, October 2nd through the 6th, 2024, that has led his pivotal role in the creation and outstanding contributions to our community, and celebrate his remarkable achievements and inspire future generations. So I give this to you on behalf, and thank you for taking that.
Even though we don't have the Balloons Over Morgantown October 2nd through 6th, it has been postponed, unfortunately. But we're still hoping Dr. Van Anderson will be able to fly when we do have it again. So hoping his last time will be at that point and not last year. So
Do they have a date?
No dates have been assigned yet. It's, we're going to be in the planning process over the next several weeks, trying to figure out when the next event will be.
Can I, hold on before you leave. Come on back up. Never mind, I already forgot my question, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to make sure that you had a chance to talk. I didn't want you to think I was walking away while you were talking.
Oh, that's fine.
But I appreciate you accepting that and passing that along to him.
Sure.
So
Thank you very much.
Give
But
him
it's,
our best regards.
He'll be very appreciative. We're looking forward to celebrating his retirement and all he's done for our community over the last 40 years. So we appreciate him.
Been a big figure.
Yep.
Deserves some applause.
All right. On to the public hearings. First, we have an ordinance providing for the zoning reclassification of certain parcels of real estate in the first ward of the city of Morgantown. Tax District 9, Tax Map 48A, Parcel 12, commonly known as 1433 Dorsey Avenue, from an R1 single-family residential district to a D1 service business district, amending Article 1331 of the Planning and Zoning Code of the City of Morgantown, as shown on the exhibit here to attached and declared to be part of this ordinance as if the same were fully set forth herein. We do the public portion, and then Ricky will talk about it. Yes. All right. So I open this public portion now. And I will close that one. All right, next we have an ordinance providing for the zoning reclassification of certain portions of parcels of real estate in the fourth ward of the city of Morgantown. Tax District 12, Tax Map 14, parcels 12.1, 13, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, and 498. And Tax Map 15, parcels 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 92.1, 93, 93.1, 93.2, 93.3, 94, 95, 96, 97, 277, 278, 279, from a OI office and institutional district to an R3 multifamily residential district, amending Article 1331 of the Planning and Zoning Code of the City of Morgantown, as shown in the exhibit here to attach and declared to be part of this ordinance as if the same were fully set forth herein. I open this portion. And I close this public portion. And next we have an ordinance authorizing the acquisition and construction of additions, betterments, and improvements to the sewage portion of the existing public combined water works, sewage and stormwater system of the city of Morgantown, and the financing of the cost thereof not otherwise provided through the issuance by the city of not more than $45 million in aggregate principal amount of combined utility system revenue bonds, Series 2024 West Virginia SRF program, and not more than $5 million in aggregate principal amount of combined utility system revenue bonds, Series 2024B West Virginia SRF program forgivable, providing for the rights and remedies and security for the registered owners of such bonds, authorizing execution and delivery of all documents relating to the issuance of such bonds, approving, ratifying, and confirming a bond purchase agreement relating to such bonds, authorizing the sale and providing for the terms and provisions of such bonds, and adopting other provisions relating thereto. I now open this public portion. And now I close that public portion. And next we have an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2024-2025 annual budget of the city of Morgantown as shown in the revised budget attached here too, and made part of this ordinance as the same applies to the general fund. I now open this public portion. Anyone wishing to speak? Now I close the public portion. All right. Next we have an unfinished business of approval of a second reading of an ordinance providing for the zoning reclassification of certain parcels of real estate in the first ward of the city of Morgantown, Tax District 9, Tax Map 48A, Parcel 12, commonly known as 1433 Dorsey Avenue, from R1 Single Family Residential District to B1 Service Business District, amending Article 1331 of the Planning and Zoning Code of the City of Morgantown as shown on the exhibit here to attach, and declared to be part of the ordinance as if the same were fully set forth herein. First reading on August 20th, 2024. And if Ricky wants to come give us some background information on this.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, good evening, Council, good to see you all. Upon review, again, staff found the proposed map amendment to be consistent with the city's land management plan, and the Planning Commission, upon review and conducting a public hearing, approved the recommendation to Council to approve the rezoning of this property from an R1 district to a B1 neighborhood business district. So staff's recommendation is to approve the rezoning as proposed.
Can you talk about where this is, just so people have some familiarity with?
Yes, so thank you, Mayor. Yes, so the rezoning is located at the intersection of Lucky Lane and Dorsey Avenue. It used to be owned by the Monongalia County School District, and used to be an old school one time, and more recently was repurposed as an administrative office and some other uses. And so it has sat vacant for some time and went up for auction and was sold. And the property owner is looking to make that property more viable for different uses in that general vicinity. And the property adjacent to this, to the east, is already zoned B2. The property across Greenbag Road and directly across the way is already zoned B1. So it's within that kind of general area of a business commercial district.
Before we have discussion, I have a motion.
Move to approve.
Oh, sorry.
Second.
Okay. Now, did you have another question?
Nope, I'm good.
This was originally brought up previously, right? And then they had changed the zoning from
Yes, so
B2 to B1, is that correct?
Yes, so the applicant had made a previous petition to both the Planning Commission and to Council to rezone it to a B2. That was not approved, and with the passage of time, the applicant came back and is making the petition for a B1 now.
Anything else?
Great.
You said that they had all agreed, right? It was unanimous on this one?
I think B1 was unanimous.
Yes.
At Planning
B1.
Commission.
Yep.
Okay.
And also at our first reading, if I recall.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Bill Koecki?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes?
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Abu Ghanem?
Yes, passes 7-0. Next, we have a consideration of approval of a second reading of an ordinance providing for the zoning reclassification of certain portions of parcels of the real estate of the 4th Ward of the City of Morgantown, Tax District 12, Tax Map 14, parcels 12.1, 13, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, and 498, and Tax Map 15, parcels 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 92.1, 93, 93.1, 93.2, 93.3, 94, 95, 96, 97, 277, 278, 279 from OI Office and Institutional District to an R3 multifamily residential district, amending Article 1331 of the Planning and Zoning Code of the City of Morgantown as shown in the exhibit here to attach and declare to be part of this ordinance and the various things set forth herein. First reading 8/2024. Ricky. Thank you. Would you like to come back up? I am auditioning for Wade's auctions. So.
I think there might be a certificate in your future.
Yeah, he's doing good.
So again, this ordinance on second reading would rezone 25 parcels of land or 9.3 acres of land south of Evans Street and north of University Avenue to an R3 district. While there is no active site plan under review, the property owner does intend to put a petition forward or bring forth an application to develop townhomes in the area, hence the purpose for the rezoning application. Upon review, staff found the applicant's request to be in keeping with the city's land management plan, and the Planning Commission recommended to council approval. That was a 6-1-0 vote.
Move to approve. Second.
Discussion. Okay. You said 6-1 Planning Commission?
Yes.
And the
One member of the Planning Commission suggested that this would be a good area for a PUD. The rest of us didn't think that was necessary.
Another avenue to get to the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then in that case, thank you, Ricky.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Bill Koecki?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Abu Ghanem?
Yes, passes 7-0. Next, we have Consideration of approval of a third reading of an ordinance authorizing the acquisition and construction of additions, betterments, and improvements to the sewage portion of the existing public combined waterworks, sewage and stormwater system of the city of Morgantown, and the financing the cost thereof, not otherwise provided through the issuance of the city of not more than $45 million in aggregate principal amount of combined utility system revenue bonds, Series 2024 West Virginia SRF program, and not more than $5 million in aggregate principal amount of combined utility system revenue bonds, Series 2024B West Virginia SRF program forgivable, providing for the rights and remedies of and security for the registered owners of such bonds, authorizing execution and delivery of all documents relating to the issuance of such bonds, approving, ratifying, and confirming a bond purchase agreement relating to such bonds, authorizing the sale and providing for the terms and provisions of such bonds, and adopting other provisions relating thereto. First reading, 9/3/2024. Second reading, 9/17/2024. And we have someone here from Love that would like to come tell us about it.
Who got the short straw?
We're all doing that not it thing.
Well, I'm not from Bob. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jason Turner from Steptoe and Johnson, bond counsel for the city on this matter. This is the fourth time you've heard about this, and so you may be sick of hearing about it. Don't worry, I've got something else coming later tonight that you can be sick of hearing later. This is, as you've heard before, an expansion of the Cheat Lake wastewater treatment plant, and some work, I believe, is it construction? Someone tell me, the White's Run, construction of White's Run pump station. And so, although the authorized amounts here in the ordinance that's in front of you for consideration, $45 million and $5 million for those two series, I believe you've heard before that you're looking at something more in the range of $30 million in the Series A and $500,000 Series B. Any further questions about the project? We do have folks from MUB here if you have detailed questions, but this is your third and final reading on this one. You'll have more coming.
Good.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. And then discussion. Okay. Clerk, would you please call the question? Thank you, by the way.
Bill Quicky?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Abu-Ghanem?
Yes, passes 7-0. Next, we have consideration of approval of a second reading of an ordinance amending the fiscal year 24-25 annual budget of the city of Morgantown as shown in the revised budget attached here too, and made part of this ordinance as the same applies to the general fund with the first reading of 9/17/2024. And Mr. John Ferguson, there you are. You come tell us about it.
Absolutely. Good evening. Thank you. So this will be the second reading for the general fund revision number 2, and this, in short, it refers to the funding, the city's commitment to the Monongalia Development Authority's Richwood redevelopment project. That's $500,000. We are taking it from general fund from two different sources. The first source is coming from the amount over and beyond what was budgeted in the fiscal year for municipal sales tax. Now, this is just for the portion of general fund. Keep in mind, sales tax actually has 4 different buckets that's being allocated. The portion which we are talking about is 100% general fund's allocation that was received, and we can now budget for this. And the second half of that is coming out of the general fund's contingency fund, or contingency budget line. So total combined, we have $500,000, which is going to be shifted over to the capital escrow fund, which we'll be talking about here shortly, correct? Christine? Capital
Yes.
projects is
Yes.
in a different, okay. Just making sure. And this is just the general fund portion of that. Is there any questions?
This is to be held in an account, and the plan would be that we would get this back at a future time, correct?
As a matter of fact, I'm going to defer that to our attorney, Ryan.
That's correct. The City Council previously authorized the city manager to negotiate and enter into an agreement with the Development Authority and the County Commission to provide for the deposit of $500,000 each by the city and the County Commission in an account to secure interest payments on the note to be taken by the Development Authority to refinance and fund this project. That agreement, as approved by council, is to provide for repayment and security for repayment.
Before we have further discussion, I have a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Did anyone want to ask Ryan or Mr. Ferguson any questions further?
The money's being held, and then at some point it would be released back to us once the terms have been satisfied. Is that?
Yes, Councilor. The money is there in case it's needed by the lender to apply toward payments due on the note, but the agreements among the public entities will provide for the Development Authority to repay those funds.
Great.
All right. Please call the question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill Koecki?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Abu Ghanem?
Yes, passes 7-0. Boards and commissions.
Mayor, I'd like to nominate Charlie McEwen to the Morgantown Building Commission.
Second?
By acclamation.
Yep.
Okay.
Done.
Okay.
Well, how about tree board? Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg Dahl, would like to nominate Greg Dahl to the tree board. Second.
By acclamation.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And on to the public portion, which shall be subject to rules established by council and adopted by resolution. Thank you. Now open for the public portion. First we have Annie from New York. If you would please be so kind. Power woman.
Yeah, so Human Rights Commission. We still need more counselors, so anybody wanting to apply, hrc@morgantownwv.gov. You can email us and ask questions, or you can go to the city website and fill out an application. I'm sure the city council is waiting to get some because there haven't been a lot. My winning personality is not doing the trick. On the Human Rights Commission agenda, we have the International Human Rights Day Awards ceremony and the annual poster and flag exhibition and sometimes art contest. Last year we paired up with NAACP and absorbed their not well attended or entered art program, and we've made it part of our Human Rights Awards reception and issued their award, and the city gave an award to the artist, and it was quite lovely. I have been soliciting for a place to hold our exhibition. Last year was not optimal. And Deputy Mayor Celine suggested that we use the rooms downstairs at the opening of the City Hall for the reception. And I would ask, can we also use it for our flag and poster exhibit? I don't know how much room gets used, but if there's one that's got some open space, that kind of one on the right side when you first come in the door would fit what we have. And so I don't know who to contact about arranging for the building space. So if anybody could advise at some point, that'd be great. So we have the reception set for Sunday, December 8th, 4 to 6 p.m. And we're looking to do the poster exhibit from after Thanksgiving until mid-December. The reason why the reception is on December 8th, which is a Sunday, and not on December 10th, which is International Human Rights Day, is because there's free parking. and people like that, and we get better attendance that way. And also City Council gets to enjoy the party. But we may have it's like music, lively performed, and violins and the like. We also will be doing the International Human Rights Day proclamation. Hopefully it will be timely submitted, unlike the last one, which was submitted over the weekend and will not be read when it was wanted, which is fine, but I'll work hard to do better next time. And one of our other charges is to keep an eye out for affordable housing and advocate for it. There's been a lot of zoning changes and parcels, and I understand that's because people buy the property and they want to develop it for a purpose. But the city as a whole needs to be on the lookout for property for affordable housing and get somebody in here who's willing to do it. The landlords we have now do not appear to be willing. The Human Rights Commission is working on a anti-discrimination ordinance for source of income, so that if a person's income is from welfare, alimony, etc., that they can't be barred from renting because that is their source of income. And they get into some gray area to put a total ban on source of income because if a person is known to be cooking meth in their apartment, it's completely understandable for a landlord to want to keep them out. So I have to balance reasonable with meeting the need for affordable housing, which we're not doing. And in closing, had to happen, right? Received a synopsis from the last regular meeting of how the ordinance were voted on and a synopsis of what they were. And that was quite nice because it's far easier to read than the minutes. So thank you, whoever's idea that was.
Thank you. Would anybody else wish to speak right now during the public portion? If you just state your name and your address.
I'm Mimi Ferguson with WVU Student Government Association. I'm our local governance liaison. I introduced myself just a couple meetings back. I'm new to the position. But we have our WVU Safety Walk coming up next Tuesday, the 8th, at 6 p.m. So basically what the Safety Walk is we just send groups of students and hopefully some people from the city to different areas of Morgantown that have a lot of student traffic to look for deficiencies with safety and accessibility. So this semester we're focusing on the Sunnyside and health sciences areas of our campus and of Morgantown. And next semester we're going to focus on downtown and Evansdale. But like I said, that's just next Tuesday, October 8th at 6 p.m. So they just wanted me to come up and let you guys all know that that's happening and that you guys are invited. Ron Justice, who I think used to be the mayor, I don't know how long ago, but he now works with WVU. He'll be there, and then Drew Gatlin, who's the staff engineer for the city, I believe, will also be there and said he was bringing a few people. So if any of you would like to come, you wouldn't be the only people from the city, but we would love to see more faces at either of those locations. But if you want more information about it, you can email me. It's Mimi, M-I-M-I, .Ferguson, F-E-R-G-U-S-O-N, 9@gmail.com. So thank you all.
Anybody else wishing to speak? Once? Twice? All right, that closes our public portion. Ron Justice was the mayor the first year I attended college in 2004. All right. On to no special committee reports, no consent agenda, and now here we are. Ada, not quite through. First, we have, under new business, the consideration of approval of a resolution approving and authorizing to submit to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, the City of Morgantown's pathways to removing obstacles to housing, pro-housing, competitive grant application, Aunt Meemaw.
Come on.
Miss Robin. That's the term of endearment, for the record. She told me I could use that name. Miss
That's
Robin.
what I'm known as around the city, yes. Hi, good evening, everyone. First of all, before I start talking about this grant, I have to give recognition to Urban Design Ventures, who is our CDBG consultants, who, excuse me, if it wasn't for them, I could not have pulled this off in 4 weeks. But thanks to them, I think we've put a very competitive grant together. We have leveraging, which is something we normally don't have when we do a grant. They were just great, and hopefully, if you all pass the resolution, it'll be put out on grants.gov on Monday. Fingers crossed, and everything goes all right. So I'm going to kind of talk about the grant itself. It's the pro-housing initiative. And the grant purpose is to identify and remove barriers to affordable housing production and preservation. Preservation, HUD likes to use this word when it comes to the pro-housing, because that's the key word in the summary of what the entire grant is about. That's the protection, the maintenance, the safeguarding, and the care of the housing here in Morgantown, West Virginia. And what we're hoping that with this grant, with pro-housing, the biggest effect will be on 30,509 people in the city of Morgantown who is going to be able to take part of this grant if we get it. The eligible usage we can use for this, and we have talked about it in the grant application, is developing, updating, or advancing housing and community plans, creating transit-oriented development zones, incentivizing the development of vacant lots or the conversion of commercial properties for residential and mixed-use development, streamlining permitting processes and expanding by right development, reducing the barriers to develop such as residential property, height limitations, off-street parking requirements, density restrictions, and minimum lot sizes, allowing accessory dwelling units on lots with single-family homes, adopting strategies to preserve and revitalize affordable housing, building capacity of local nonprofit organizations to increase housing supplies, and that would be working closely with the Fairmont Morgantown Housing Authority, and also the Habitat for Humanity, and increasing community resilience and mitigating environmental and natural hazards. These are all the components of this grant, and probably each one of these are covered in about 4 or 5 different pages with backup data and information and anything you ever wanted to know about pro-housing. I'm going to kind of share with you what the budget looks like. We're going after $7 million is what we're going after. It's a 5-year grant. Within this grant, we will be able to hire a staff person to kind of take care of it. It's not going to be kind of like the CDBG program where, as a grant writer, I also have the CDBG program also. This is something that's going to be specific for the housing initiative. It's a 5-year program. If we get the monies, we'll get the monies in 2025, and it goes to 2030. You can apply every year for 5 years. And the biggest competitive thing about the entire grant this year is if you got a grant last year, you can apply again this year. If you get a grant, if you didn't get one, you can reapply. But one good thing, if you get the grant, you're just about assured of getting it for the next 5 years. So that means that if we get the grant, we have a possibility of putting $35 million into pro-housing and making housing available in Morgantown for the entire population. Phase 1 of the grant is laying the groundwork, and that's the development of the Morgantown pro-housing approach. Under that category, that is, we have listed out all of the wards and neighborhoods in the area, and we've given X amount of dollars for that with a total subtotal of $325,000. The phase 2 of the implementation, I think this is where you all might get kind of excited about. Zoning regulation reform, that we've put $200,000 in for that. Development review and approval reform, $50,000. Building and fire code reform, $50,000. Design and performance standards reform, $100,000. Removal of slums and blighting conditions, which is spot basis, that has $500,000 in it. That spot basis, what that is, that's for immediate needs. If we have a house that has to come down immediately, that's what they call a spot basis. The other one is a strategic. In other words, if you have a demolition that there could be rehabbed, then that's considered a strategic. So we had to break that down into two different kind of removal of slums and blights in the Morgantown area, and that also has $500,000. Property acquisition, we have $1 million for that. Due diligence and environmental remediation, we have $50,000 on that. And we also then, this is the part that I'm kind of really excited about, we have home assistance. So for the young married couple who just got married and they don't have enough down payment, we'll be able to help them out with this project. There'll be $500,000. Home buyer rehabilitation, if someone in the community has a home that they want to buy, but it needs a lot of rehab, there's $1,250,000 in that. Owner rehabilitation, we have $700,000 in that. Neighborhood amenities such as parks and other amenities, we have $300,000. Infrastructure improvements, $300,000. Affirmative fair housing education, because this is going to be something totally different that the city of Morgantown has never accomplished before, and we need to educate the people before we even start this program. So we have like $25,000 on that, and then administration and legal fees is $375,000, and that comes to $7 million. And the good thing about the leveraging is we have $7,040,554 that we can use for leveraging. Our congressional directed spending, you can use that as leveraging, so we have $2 million for Lower Greenmont, which we just received. We have in the next 5 years, all of our entitlement monies for CDBG is going to go toward fair housing. So there's lots of monies that we have now that we can use against it, and we can leverage it against it. So we think that's going to be a good kind of check on ours. So that's kind of basically what it is. We're going after $7 million on a fair housing project that when we did the comprehensive plan, when we interviewed people, I think I told you that Morgantown has houses here, has houses here, there's nothing in between. So we're hoping to take care of that in between. Any questions?
Move to approve.
Move to approve. Second.
Yeah. Now, question? First off, thank you for that wonderful explanation.
Pardon?
Thank you for that wonderful explanation,
Oh,
very
okay.
detailed.
I tried to get it. I mean, there's lots of things you can say about it that I would be here for the next 4 hours, and I know we don't want to all stay for 4 hours.
Maybe you could teach the master class in explaining but not explaining.
Well, I tried to hit all of the things that I think you all would be really interested in. In fact, it's really funny between the consultant and myself. We both like to kind of write grants, and so we kind of not look to see how many pages and everything we have, and we had to take out 20 pages because we had 20 pages too many than what the Fed said we were allowed to have. So we cut it from 86 down to 42. So I think that's a little bit more than 20 pages, but that's not counting everything else. But it is very competitive. I think with Morgantown having the leveraging of the extra funds, that's going to help us a lot. But like I said, I think a couple other people in the area is going after the same monies. I know the West Virginia housing people went after it last year. They didn't get it. They're going after it again this year. So I feel good about it, but that doesn't always work. So all we can do is wait until February, March of next year. I think we're supposed to get notice March of next year, which is March 2025, and then you have until 2030 to spend the monies. And like I said, then when they come out again next year, we can turn around and reapply again. So if we don't get it this year, we have a good grant, we've got a basis for another grant that, we can just kind of make it. Maybe that time they'll allow us to put our extra 20 pages in.
This has always been high on our agenda. I want to thank you personally for your efforts.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, like I said, I give credit to Urban Design Ventures, because if they're the experts with the wording and this kind of, they knew the right words to put in, and I appreciate them and all they do for us. You got it. That's a good. They keep me out of jail.
Is this building on our housing study? Like, we had a housing study that looked at this type of missing middle.
Yeah.
And it seemed as though it was there and it needed to be followed up on, but we weren't quite in a position yet to actually do that, so.
Yeah. Well, I think this will give you the opportunity, because I think like what we kind of broke down and where I really needed UDV's help for is setting up the budget of exactly what, because they've done the pro-housing before. They've gotten grants for other entities. Not this particular grant, because it's only the second year this grant's been out, but similar to that. So they kind of knew where HUD might be looking for things within the budget and everything. So, and like I said, I'm just excited that this is going to have an effect on everyone in Morgantown. Just like I said, just to have young couples be able to buy a house. We might be able to give them $25,000, $30,000, I think probably more than $25,000 or $30,000 down. But and then they also rehab is really big, and that's why when I kind of read through all of the things that has to do with pro housing, HUD used the word preservation a lot. So they want to preserve, fair housing in any town, city in the United States, because it's not just Morgantown that has this. It's throughout the entire United States. Fair housing just doesn't exist anymore.
So I really appreciate you putting all this work into this. And I just wonder, for one, could we see the draft application? Is that posted somewhere online? I know we had it up.
It's going to be, we should have it finished, that the actual one that I'm going to be inputting should be done this week.
Okay.
Friday or something.
Okay, just so we can look at the whole.
I can kind of send an email out to you all with a copy of it.
Oh, that would
if
be
you
really
like.
great.
Yeah.
Looking at the first round, the largest award was $6.7 million to LA, Los Angeles County. So do you know if most of these places were applying much higher than what their actual award amount was? Is that why we're going pretty high on award amount?
Because you can only go 10 million.
Okay.
So we don't want to get greedy, at least the first time. If we get the 7 the first time, then I say next year we would increase that amount every year we apply for it. But for right now, no, 10 million, the least you can get is 1 million. The highest you can go for is 10 million. Because they only have, I think this time they only have, 100 million to give out.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, this is all the entitlement communities throughout the United States can do that. And there's a lot of HUD entitlement communities. Besides the, I think MPOs can apply for it, the counties can apply for it, and the states can apply for it. So, I don't know why. I feel comfortable with it. I really do. But I felt comfortable in a couple other grants that I didn't get, that I was kind of upset about. But this one is, I think, having the leveraging, and we're being very upfront about the leveraging, and we have to give them a certified letter that, we're not telling a story that we really don't have the monies, but we do. And not everybody has congressional directed spending, like the state of West Virginia does. They have it, but people don't use it as much as what the state does. And being able to leverage that money And that includes the money that we don't have it in hand yet, but we've been awarded 3 years of congressional directed spending that are still out there that haven't come into the city yet. So we can use that.
Good.
Very good.
Thank you, Ms. Robbins. Appreciate it.
Call for the question?
Ready? Bill Koecki?
No, I don't know.
Ms.
Robbins. Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Hallelujah, yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Buganim?
Yes. Passes 7-0. Next, we have the consideration of approval of a bid call 2025-02 for the North Street improvement. And Damien, is this you? Would like to come tell us about it?
Sure.
Thank you.
So this project is a project we've been trying to get done for, I think, 4 or 5 years now. It's been, COVID slowed it down. So it's improvements to North Street and Grove Street going from University Avenue to Willowdale. If anybody's driven North Street, it's narrow, next down over a blind hill. It's about 15 feet or less, so it's really tight getting through there. It's at the edge of the neighborhood. It's a big cut-through street, lots of pedestrians, and so as part of this, we're going to widen the street out to 20 feet, 2 10-foot lanes, and have a sidewalk on the one side of it, from all the way from University Avenue to Willowdale, which will tie into sidewalks on both of those roadways as well. There is some utilities that need to be relocated as part of it. MUB's actually out there doing work right now to improve their, do their water line, sewer line work out there in preparation of us doing this project. So we've been working with them for a while on that, and they started that work, I believe, early this week, or end of last week. This is one of our projects where we're trying to improve the pedestrian access through the area as well, being the edge of the neighborhood being both cut through for vehicles. We're trying to slow them down with that, but also make it safe for pedestrians to go through there. That's about it, really. Not a very complicated project. We got pretty good bid results back. Came right around our estimate. We were estimating around 450 to 500,000. Low bid came in at 469. So right around what we were anticipating, and all the bids were really close to each other too. There wasn't some high ones, so I think we have some pretty decent bids as part of that. Prada, who is the low bid, they've done work for many years for the city, and they're actually doing the First Street project right now. So I think they'll do a good job out there. And if you have any questions?
Hold on.
Move to approve.
Second.
Oh. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to see the rules.
No, you're good.
All right, go ahead.
Now I can ask, do you have a start date for?
Well,
I know you're doing the water lines right now.
Yeah, for our project, what we'll do is once you guys approve, we'll meet with Prada, give them the notice of award, then we'll give them the contracts. They have to supply documents. So start date will probably be about a month. It'll probably take a month to get through contracts and all that.
So about a month, and then
Yeah.
take what, about 6 weeks maybe?
I think we have in the project 60-day deadline, 60 days
nice.
for substantial completion, and then 15 days to button up things.
So I go down North Street all the time, Damien, and
Yeah.
I'm just curious, how are you widening on the right side or the left side? Like
We're
if you're
kind of
coming out
asymmetrically widening it because our cross section is 2 10-foot lanes in a 5-foot sidewalk, and so we're kind of fitting that in the center of the 30-foot right of way.
Yeah.
So we try to have a little space on each side where we have a little buffer to work.
Right.
Yeah.
So the sidewalk goes on the left.
It goes on the north side of it. Yes.
Okay. So that's one where all the houses are. The side where the houses.
Yes. Yes.
That's
I mean, there's
gonna be-
houses on both sides. But
Yeah,
that
but
one's
the
more.
ones that are really tight.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough squeeze in there.
Yeah. I mean, we're keeping this project within the public right of way.
Yeah.
We're not taking any property as part of this. Areas where we are close, we've gotten construction easements from the property owners to allow us to do the grading work we need to do.
I know a couple residents asked me, because there is a lot of speeding, did you say you're going to put a stop sign at the...
It will be a stop intersection there at North and Jones. It'll be a stop, and there's a stop sign at the bottom of
That's the
North and
one
Grove.
above the First Street coming down?
Yeah, you go University, Jones,
Yeah.
the little small one, Short Street, then down the hill.
Okay.
Grove.
Well, we're really
Yeah.
excited about it, because that road's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you always kind of, I hope there's nobody you meet when you go over that little blind.
Yeah. By any chance, do you have an actual design of it?
Yeah.
Can I see
It's
it?
online. It's on our city's website.
City,
The bid documents, but I can send you that.
Could you please?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, could you send it to all of us?
Yeah.
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 Really appreciate it, Damien. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a project that's been talked about for a long time.
It's been a long one.
And so,
we got it started right before COVID, and then it kind of killed it, and then now we're just getting it back.
and probably even just the first little part, even like before that.
Yeah.
So it's really
Yeah.
nice when projects like that come to fruition, even though they're hard.
Yeah.
Even though they look simple.
See.
Thanks, Damien. Appreciate it.
Any more questions? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bill Queckie?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Abuganim?
Yes, passes 7-0. Next, we have consideration of approval of first reading of an ordinance authorizing and regulating private outdoor designated areas in the city of Morgantown. And it looks like Ryan?
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance change was described at the Committee of the Whole. It updates the existing private outdoor designated area ordinance of the city to establish 2 special event locations where the POTA can be partially suspended to facilitate holding fairs and festivals that would not participate in the POTA. It also creates an administrative approval process for fair and festival permittees who would like to get POTA permits, so that because those are short-term events, they do not need to apply to the committee that's established to review longer-term, year-over-year applications. If council has any questions about this, I'd be happy to answer.
Move to approve.
Second.
Questions? All right.
The ABCA is its own special circumstance. I don't know if we'll have to change it again. We'll see what rules change in the next couple of months.
I'm sure that if the sun is going to rise in the east and set in the west, there will be changes.
We're doing what we can.
Bill Queckie?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes?
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Abuganim?
Yes, passes 7-0. Next, we have consideration of approval of an ordinance annexing, first reading of an ordinance annexing property of Mylan Puskar Health Right, Inc. into the corporate boundaries of the city of Morgantown. And I look to City Attorney Ryan Simonson.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance is an application by the property owners of parcels 41.1 and 8.20 of map 4 Clinton District to annex property into the city of Morgantown. This is the future location of Mylan Pushkar Health Right. The annexation procedure used for this application is adoption of an ordinance by City Council, and if Council chooses to adopt the ordinance, a certificate of that ordinance will be forwarded to the County Commission for entry to make the annexation effective. Because annexations now have to become effective at the beginning of a fiscal quarter, this one would be scheduled to become effective January 1st, 2025.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions? I think it's been talked about for a while.
Appreciate those who want to annex into the city.
All right.
Bill Queckie?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine,
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull,
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger,
Yes.
Brian Butcher,
Yes.
Mayor Abu-Ghanem.
Yes, passes 7-0. Next, we have consideration of approval of first reading on ordinance authorizing and the conveyance of real property to the Morgantown Building Commission, the leasing of such property from the Morgantown Building Commission, and the issuance by the Building Commission of its lease revenue bonds in an amount not to exceed $11 million, all relating to the construction of improvements at Marilla Park. And Mel?
Hey, it's me again. Did you miss me?
Bond guy.
Once again, Jason Turner from Steptoe and Johnson, City, and in this case, Building Commission Bond Council for this project. Once again, you heard about this at your committee of the whole meeting last week, and so, you know, a lot of this has been described for you, but in general, this is the project to kind of finish the job at Marilla Park with a companion project to the aquatic center that was done. The bonds for it were done last winter, and then you know, construction is, I believe, ongoing there. This is to finish the lower part of the park with a skate and bike park in the area of the current pool, some tennis courts, pickleball courts, basketball courts, shelters, parking, all sorts of things that you'd want to have in a nice park in a city like this. This will be done with the same structure as we did for the aquatic center at Marilla, where the city will convey the property to the building commission and then lease it back from the building commission with the lease payments to be the amount needed to pay debt service on the bonds. The not to exceed amount, 11 million, once again, as with all of these, has a little bit of cushion built in, so that if bids come in high, we don't have to start the process all over again if the city wishes to proceed with the project at that point. So, first reading on this, you only have one more reading on this one, so we'll take care of the public hearing publications for this, and it'll be at your next meeting, October 15th. Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, now any questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Bill Koecki,
Yes.
Reese Michael,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine,
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull,
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger,
Yes.
Brian Butcher,
Yes.
Mayor Abu-Ghanem.
Yes, passes 7-0. Next, we have the consideration of approval of a first reading on ordinance amending Article 925 of the City Code to revise the rates, fees, and charges of the service area served by the Cheat Lake wastewater treatment plant. And Mike, if you'd like to come up and...
Good evening. I'm Mike McNulty, General Manager of the Morgantown Utility Board. Thanks for having us this evening. So in front of you is the ordinance to increase rates for the Cheat Lake project, which we've been talking about for some time. And as I've mentioned in previous meetings, we're in a very challenging bidding climate at the moment. And we've had some contractors ask for an extension of time in order to submit bids. We had another pre-bid meeting today. We got another request to extend out for a week. We haven't acted upon that one yet because a request does have to go into West Virginia DEP since that is where the main source of funding is going to come, is through the SRF loan. But what we're asking City Council to do is to go ahead and approve the 100% increase in rates that was advertised. So we will be in the position to close on the SRF bonds in the middle of December. We will open bids. If we grant this next extension, we'll open bids on October, I believe, the 22nd, right in that time period. And we will know at that point, did we come in the money? Did the bids come in? We've made a number of addendums to try to give contractors a way of cutting some of the costs. We hope we don't have to do that. We hope we get 100% of the project that we want to build. But it is critical for us to be able to move forward with the rate increase and have rates in effect when we close on the bonds. Otherwise, we won't be able to.
Have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
And Mike, the timing is such that it needs to happen in this timetable for also the grant, is that?
Yes. We have to be under contract for the ARPA funds. We have to be under contract in December.
I think that's the important piece of information.
Yeah, that's a $6.75 million grant.
I appreciated your email a week or two ago where you kind of gave us the rundown and explained why you were asking to do this without, I appreciated the breakdown ahead of time so that we were prepared.
You're welcome.
Yeah, helpful, thank you.
Looks like we need to do it.
Well, let's call for the question.
Bill Koecki.
Yes.
Weezy Michael.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine.
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull.
Yes?
Steve Harshbarger.
Yes.
Brian Butcher.
Yes.
Mayor Abu Ghanem.
Yes, passes 7-0. Next, we have consideration of approval of a resolution amending the fiscal year 24-25 budget, revision of the capital escrow fund, and Mr. Bergstein, I'll call you back up.
So this is going to be the budget revision number 1 for the capital escrow fund, and we are trying to accomplish 2 things with this budget revision. The first one is going to be the actual funding that we discussed 10 minutes ago, where we're bringing the money in for the Richwood project from general fund. We are using the capital escrow fund as the more appropriate vehicle, the more appropriate fund to account for this transaction. And that's the first part of it. So we are bringing in $500,000 from general fund, and then that's going back out to the securing that financial support for the development authority. The second part of this revision, this is where actually it starts getting a little bit more exciting for me. We are actually budgeting for a repair to be done over at the airport terminal building due to water damage. During the transition, or when they had what was it, the airline, the new airline was coming in, they came across some water damage where there was some damage to the foundation caused by a leaking window. They approximate a repair needing in about $50,000 that we needed to come up with, and it happened to be at the perfect timing of when we were actually opening up a money market account for the capital escrow account. The purpose of the money market account is to basically to earn additional interest income over and beyond what our checking account currently generates for us. We are calculating that we will generate enough revenue, additional interest income from this money market account to pay for the $50,000 repair for the airport. That way we are not taking this money away from any other project currently budgeted in the capital escrow account. So this is 100% new money coming in for capital escrow to fund that emergency repair over at the airport. Does that make sense? Okay.
Motion?
Yeah, I'll move to approve.
Second.
All right, and then discussion. Any questions?
Well, I am curious. You're counting on monies coming in as an interest on money that we are depositing. That doesn't happen quickly usually. I mean, how far out is this?
I am estimating the difference of being less than 3 months.
3 months?
Correct.
Give me the name of that account.
United Bank. So,
Thank you.
yes, we have opened up a money market account. We actually done 2 of those recently, one for the general fund and one for the capital escrow fund, with the intentions of generating more interest income over and beyond what the current checking account allows us. The current checking account was at 1.025%, where the money market account, which has gone down over the past 2 weeks due to changes in the Fed rate, but it's currently sitting at, what is it 4%? So
Okay.
we're talking 3 times the amount of interest just in 1 month's period.
Very good. Thank you.
Mayor, if I could just clarify also, the windows we're talking about are the large plate glass windows that face the parking lot. They've been leaking for years. It's just become, and it's deteriorating the base of those windows. And what will happen is, in replacing those windows, it'll actually go all the way down to the floor, and repair any of the damage created by the leaking. So it really is something that's needed to be done for a while. It just didn't just happen. And with the new airline coming in, we felt we needed to complete those kinds of repairs to make it right.
Cheaper to repair up front than.
Yeah.
Let the whole thing collapse.
Don't want that.
Any other?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Bill Koecki?
Yes.
Louise Michael?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes?
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Abugana?
Yes, passes 7-0. Next, we have the consideration of approval of a first reading of an ordinance of the City of Morgantown amending the city charter to authorize 3 members of City Council to call a special meeting of council. And I look to you, Secretary.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance proposes amendment of Section 2.11 of the city charter that currently specifies that 4 members of council may call a special meeting of the council. The proposal is to amend that provision to provide that 3 members of the council may call a special meeting.
A motion?
Move to approve?
Second.
Discussion. Okay.
Bill Koecki?
Yes.
Louise Michael?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Abugana?
Yes. Passes 7-0. Next, we have consideration of approval of first reading of an ordinance of the City of Morgantown amending the city charter to amend candidate withdrawal deadlines. And again,
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance proposes amendment of Section 7.02 of the city charter, which currently provides for withdrawal of candidates who have been nominated for city council. As council has discussed, because of the current provisions for nomination and the state law provisions for withdrawal, the filing period for candidates extends beyond or past the available withdrawal date, which prevents any candidate who is nominated from withdrawing as a candidate for election. This proposed change in the ordinance would specify a withdrawal date for city elections, that is the date 30 calendar days before the date of the election.
may I have a motion?
Move to approve?
Second.
Discussion?
I have a question. We ran into this, and this would certainly be needed in the case of another standalone election, but should we choose to put on a ballot election dates to align with a county election, is there an amendment that we would need to make to say, 30 days before, or a date set by the county clerk? They may have, I'm sure they have their own dates for ballot deadlines, things like that, to change names on a ballot.
I'll be happy to run that question by the county clerk. When this, and I have sent the ordinance and received comments back, so I'll check in on that specific question. I think it was council's intention when these were discussed before to provide for this amendment in a way that was neutral to whether or not the city election date changes. But I'll certainly follow up to see whether or not the city can still specify its own candidate withdrawal date or whether that would need to be at an earlier time.
Okay. It would certainly be needed even for our next election because we ran into this in our last election.
Yep.
Bill Koecki?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes?
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Buganim?
Yes, passes 7-0. Next, we have consideration of approval of a first reading on ordinance of the City of Morgantown amending the city charter to provide that the city clerk perform official duties in a nonpartisan manner. And again,
Thank you, Mayor. This amendment proposed by ordinance amends section 2.08 of the city charter, which specifies the duties.
Not have side conversation while the attorney is speaking.
This specifies the duties of the city clerk as it exists. This proposed amendment simply adds another subsection to those provisions that provides that the city clerk will perform their duties in a neutral, nonpartisan manner.
Have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I have discussion because I wanted to note that our city clerk does operate in this manner, and that this was more like a wording improvement and something that was kind of carrying over what's already in place and putting it in place so that in the future we're noting that this is a good attribute that we already have in our current clerk. So I just wanted to make sure that we had a statement like that and that we recognize that this is more writing down of what's already going on.
And you beat me to my comment.
Sorry.
I think you beat it to
Also,
all
yeah.
7 of us making the same
Sorry,
comment.
yeah,
during-
just wanted to make sure that we did that.
We might not always have the greatest clerk ever.
You set the standard, so we want to make sure it's written down.
Well, just like, for instance, when somebody had a concern about how elections were run and making sure that they were done in a manner that was even-handed with regard to people that that just had concerns about their treatment, that our city clerk went ahead and then every year has had a special training for people who are running our elections to make sure that they are treating everyone in an even-handed manner. So there's real guts behind what we're talking about.
All right.
Bill Koecki?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Buganim?
Yes, passes 7-0. Next, we have the consideration of approval of a first reading of an ordinance of the City of Morgantown amending the city charter to modify reporting requirements of boards and commissions. And again,
Thank you, Mayor. This proposal would amend Section 4.02 of the city charter, which authorizes the council to establish boards and commissions of the city and also provides reporting requirements for those boards and commissions. The section currently specifies that ordinances creating the boards and commissions will provide for reporting semi-annually. That's not entirely consistent with the practices those boards and commissions usually follow, so this update would revise those requirements to provide for an annual report by each board and commission. It would specify a reporting date no later than the 30th day of June each year, and it would provide a mechanism for reporting both to City Council and the City Manager by electronic delivery, and specify in general the contents of that reporting to include both financial condition, if applicable, and the activities of the Board or Commission during the year.
do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second?
Any discussion?
Should we make this change, I assume this will be adequately communicated with all of our boards and commissions so as not to catch them off guard.
Absolutely. We'll work with the clerk's office to communicate that and hopefully provide some forms for reporting and processes to do that.
Bill Kowacky?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes?
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Abu-Ghanem?
Yes, passes 7-0. Next, the consideration of approval of a first reading of an ordinance of the City of Morgantown amending the city charter to modify city manager residency requirements. And again, I look to you.
Thank you, Mayor. This amendment would modify Section 3.01 of the city charter, which provides for the appointment, qualifications, and compensation of the city manager. It amends the gendered terms used to refer to the city manager, and also would provide that rather than requiring that the city manager reside in the city while in office, would authorize the city council to allow the city manager to reside outside the city while in office. If the city council did not provide that authorization, then the residency requirement would still apply.
Do I have a motion before discussion?
Move to approve.
Second.
For clarification, so it would stand that as a residency, it would be an option by council to be able to offer.
That's correct, Mayor. The default requirement would remain that the city manager reside within the city while in office. City council, if this amendment were passed, would have the option in particular cases to waive that requirement and to allow residency elsewhere.
Any other?
I like the wording that talks about how important it is for a manager to be involved in the life of the city. I think it's really elegantly and well done.
Currently, we do that for our city clerk, too, I understand. It's not a requirement that the city clerk live in the city.
Whereas it used to be.
Right.
Whereas it used to be.
Good point.
I don't know, I look upon this as a little easier in terms of past experience, in terms of giving us some sort of capability in negotiating with any new city manager, although I don't look forward to that. And I do agree that it's important that the person that we hire be involved in the city itself, in the community itself, and committed to the community itself. And I wouldn't expect this to be given lightly. However, I think it's a good thing for us to have a quiver, the arrow in our quiver.
When was the change made on the clerk residency?
I believe that was 2004.
And it used to be a requirement for the clerk also, and council changed it to.
I believe that's correct, Councilor.
If we were going to change this in any way, I think this is probably the best way we could have done it, in terms of allowing for our discretion. I just personally, my priority would be that we have a city manager that lives within the city. I think it's important. But as I said, if we were going to change it, I think this is the best way we could have done it. So I appreciate that. It's left up to our discretion. But, yeah.
Also my preference.
Yeah, that's it.
To be
It's the only
in the city, but.
And I would just like that. I mean, that's certainly my preference too. However, I think this does add some flexibility with negotiation with the future city manager. And by no means does this lessen the desire of the city manager to be involved intimately within the city. That is still our goal with whoever, wherever that city manager resides.
All right. And I repeat everything that has been in terms of preference to having a city manager live in the city, but the benefit of having that as an option.
Bill Kowacky?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger,
Yes.
Brian Butcher,
No.
Mayor Buganum.
Yes, passes 6-1. Next, we have consideration of approval of a first reading of an ordinance of the City of Morgantown amending the city charter to require elections to be held on the May primary election date. I look to you again.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance would propose placing a ballot issue on the city's regular election in April to allow the voters to vote on whether the city elections would be changed to coincide with the May primary election to be held by and administered by the county clerk. The changes to the charter that would be made if the vote were in favor are set forth in the ordinance, and the ballot form is provided therein as well with the choices for the voters.
I have a motion before discussion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay.
Yes, I'm voting against this. I'm voting against this based on the fact that the city runs its own elections currently, and I think that as a major city in the state, it's something that we can do and that we have been doing, and I would like to continue having such elections. I think that it's fine if some cities choose not to, but I think the city of Morgantown is in a position to run our own elections, and I think we should continue doing so.
I have genuine, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but the county elections would be the primaries every, is that what we're looking at?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
So now we're looking at one group of wards will be during the presidential year, which is a very partisan time, and we're supposed to be a nonpartisan organization. So I do worry about the potential of an influx of money going into these campaigns.
Is that accurate? I thought it was the primary.
The primary is still presidential.
Oh, during the presidential
year.
And one set of wards will have that election every time.
I got you.
Which I no longer remember a presidential election that wasn't very emotional, drawing a lot of feelings. So it leaves me concerned that even though we are nonpartisan, it will still bring out partisan conflicts. That's just my concern.
That's a good point. I used to like the separation when it was 7 of us running, and then we went to every 2 years, a 4-year term just recently. Now it's a 3 or a 4 of us running. It seems like, given our low voter turnout, if there are only 3 or 4 of us running in a given city election, that even more reason perhaps for a low voter turnout. And it's just caused me to rethink and want to align it with the county. But I do hear your point, and I hadn't thought of that. That's a good point, Joe.
I've heard these arguments, pro and con for the longest time. I understand that it costs us money, but my feeling is that I believe that what we do in this city is important enough for people to take an interest in it, and that should be the driver bringing them to the voting to vote. And the idea of being nonpartisan, I honestly really feel very, very, very strong about the idea that we should avoid as much as we can politics in city government and do what is best for the community, or at least what we believe is best for the community. And hopefully, and I believe, actually, I think we have a good council. I think we've done that. We don't all we're not all lockstep, but we do our best. I don't see where moving it over to compete with everything else that's going on at that time, you know, just joining the circus, is that advantageous to the city at all? I can't support this one, and I won't.
I think this is an item that council has been split on for years. I will remind you, there are a lot of nonpartisan elections that happen during the May primary, whether it's a presidential election year or not. We elect many political offices, from judges to, there's a lot of nonpartisan on the ballot in May. And as I said, this is an item that council has been split on as long as I've been paying attention to the city of Morgantown. I think that it is something that the state is certainly going to continue to bring up, and I do think it is in our best interest to be proactive instead of being forced to move our election. I think if we are proactive in doing so, there is a better chance that we will be able to do it on a primary ballot than the general election November ballot. That has certainly been thrown around in Charleston the last few years when I've been down there advocating for other things and going to committee meetings. We are split. We are split now. I think that in such, us voting yes or no, this is not to say, yes, we are going to move our election date to the primary election. This is us to say, let's put it in the hands of the people and let them decide. And I trust the people to make the best choice on that. This is us putting it on a ballot and saying, would you like us to hold our standalone election, or would you prefer us to move it? And I think people should have a say in the way that their government is run. I know that during campaign season, this is the #1 question I get asked through a couple of election seasons now. So,
And interestingly, the ballot would be in the April ballot to see if the people in April wanted to be on a November ballot.
May ballot.
Or May ballot, May ballot. So, that little irony there.
The
but-
people that pay attention to city
Yeah,
politics
yeah.
that are going to be voting in April.
I do like the idea of being proactive and trying to put it where we feel it is best, perhaps the May primary versus the November general, and not being dictated by the state.
So,
I just wanted to mention that one thing that happens with media outlets and so on is that during the time when we're having our nonpartisan election, be it smaller because of 3 or 4 candidates running at a time, but during those times, we can have media time pretty easily. We can have people, developing ads if we want to run ads. We can get newspaper ads if we would like to have newspaper ads. All of those things are available, and it kind of spreads it out from a media standpoint, that instead of during these other times when they're running elections, if we're running our election at a different time, it just makes that media available and kind of spreads out the load for media. But I have found it very interesting that people do manage to find our polling places and vote. It may not be quite in the quantity that it would be if we went in with the county, but just always feels good to have a city election. So.
I know that they had the primaries and there were nonpartisan elections on there. And I attended many of those nonpartisan debates. And I talked to many of them out in public. And when I was out talking to a couple different candidates, a few different people that were walking by that would come over and have the conversation would ask, are you Republican or Democrat? And it was still, they would have to remind them that it was a nonpartisan election. And even though it is nonpartisan, and they do remind, it doesn't take away the emphasis that would be brought on during a partisan, especially presidential partisan election. But
So I hear all that. I would say, you know, partisan politics has influenced council several times. The other thing I would say is, I get asked the same question. When I go and get signatures, people, if they don't know who I am, they say, what party are you with? And I say, well, it's a nonpartisan election. They go, yeah, but which party are you with? And then I tell them, and they tell me to leave, or they say, okay, give me that. You know, I understand the value of being nonpartisan. The value that I see in it in this day and age is that we don't have party apparatchiks to deal with. But we can't kid ourselves that like there isn't like a spectrum of politics in which we work on, right? The other thing I would say is that yes, while there's maybe a different media cycle, all that stuff, that didn't turn out the vote, that's for sure. I don't think it's encouraged people to be active in city politics. I think we're pretty dismayed by the kind of participation that we're getting right now and the absenteeism that we kind of have on boards and commissions. Maybe being on a May primary would allow us to have more of a prominence. The other thing I would say is that, you know, I don't put the onus on the voter for them to civically engage, especially in city politics. It's incumbent on us as like leaders and people who are privileged to make sure that we have that access to people as like widely and broadly as possible so that they can participate in the democratic process, and that like, you know, we make this as accessible as we can to people. It's super boring and like, you know, like not.
I like to think entertaining.
Yeah, it's like not. It's like only nerds like engaging in this stuff, you know. So like, and you know, we're here at 9 o'clock at night talking about a charter amendment, and if I said charter amendment to 90% of the people out on the street, they'd be like, "What's a charter? What are you talking about?" And so it's like incumbent on us to make sure that like we are doing everything we can to get that outreach to people to bring them into this process. And I think this is like a huge step in doing that. So I'd be for it. And again, it goes to an election anyway. So it's not like us just telling people. So yeah, I mean, that's what I'd say about it.
It will certainly be more work to run for city council, but running for office is not meant to be easy. This job certainly isn't easy. I don't think we should kid anyone in thinking that the campaigning is as easy as it can be.
For the sake of information, how many, if it were to go to the vote to the public, what percentage would it need to pass?
I believe it's a majority vote.
Simple
for a
majority?
ballot question.
51%.
That's correct.
Well, 15.1.
It's a simple majority.
Of people who already vote in our elections, as Dave pointed out.
Any more discussion?
Bill Koecki?
No.
Weezy Michael?
No.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
No?
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes?
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Buganim?
No. Fails 3-4. Next, we have the consideration of a report of Ward and Boundary Commission. I look to you, Mr. Simonson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Ward Boundary Commission prepares a recommendation on the ward boundaries the year before each city council election and is to present that no later than October 31 of each year to the council. At the next regular meeting after the report is filed, it is placed on the city council agenda for action. The city council can then approve the report, disapprove the report, or postpone the report for later action. It will need to take some action on that report before the first meeting, the first regular meeting in December.
I'm sorry, I missed the 3 actions. What did you say the 3 choices were?
The council can approve the report, disapprove the report, or postpone action on the report until a later date.
So how are we going to vote?
So would someone need to make a motion to like postpone or make a motion
To approve.
or make a motion to disapprove?
Yes, Mayor, you would need a motion to take one of those actions this evening.
Okay.
What if we wanted to make no change? What would be the
That would
appropriate
be
action?
disapprove, right?
Yes, if council wished to make no change in the ward boundaries for the upcoming election, then I believe it would need to disapprove the report.
I would like to move to disapprove the report.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Did you say you need a second?
Mhm.
A second.
Second. Okay, and
Could I just
Yes.
add, Mayor, when council disapproves the report of the Ward Boundary Commission, it shall, by charter, state the reasons for the disapproval on the minutes of the meeting. And so if council is inclined to take that action tonight, it would be helpful for the council members in favor to state that tonight, and the clerk could include those in the meeting. Or if you wish to do so, you could postpone that action to a later meeting of council and have those prepared, if you like.
I would entertain the idea of postponing to prepare statements for approval or disapproval. Or do we have to do something now that a motion was made?
Yeah, no, we have to.
There's a motion on the floor. If the
We can.
person making the motion
We
wishes
could
to
withdraw it in favor of postponement if that would be agreeable. And then we would prepare whatever statement we're supposed to prepare.
Okay, so I
Would
guess I
you
would.
like that?
I'd like to withdraw, yeah, if you want to postpone it.
Yeah. So I'll withdraw and you can withdraw your second if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll withdraw my
Now
second.
I would entertain.
So a motion to postpone is what you're suggesting? I'll put forth that motion so we have discussion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'd second that.
Okay. Discussion?
Well, let me start since I put my foot in it. First of all, I totally understand the difficulty of what the wards and boundary commission went through. We've experienced this numbers of times, and it's not been an easy process trying to balance these things out in what is perceived to be fair. The difficulty I have with this one is that the change is kind of like a little lopsided. One of the things that we were asked to choose between, voters or population, but the one thing that we'd always considered in the past, and I think is influential, is the idea of community. What is the ward? What constructs that ward? In my ward, if I didn't have South Park, it wouldn't be Second Ward. And I'm sure you could identify that in any of your wards. All of a sudden now I'm seeing Third Ward, not including Seneca Center and Seneca Village. And, I've always considered that to be part of Sunnyside and Wiles Hill, which is the organization. So I'm conflicted here. I truly, honestly want to support the efforts that our ward and boundary commission went through and the efforts that our staff put in this process in order to make this balanced. But somehow, I'm not feeling that it really does represent the ward or all of the wards. I've struggled with this. I've tried to work I couldn't access the materials online so I could actually manipulate the things back and forth. but the written portions of it, I've been back and forth trying to figure this out on my own. And, I'm at a loss. I don't know how to do that. I really don't. I really feel very uncomfortable with the circumstance I've been presented, and I'm required to vote on it, and I really don't want to dismiss, what was obviously a labor of well-intentioned people trying to give us what supposedly we asked for. That's all I have to say.
I was wondering if, when the voter rules change so much, if there might be more fluctuation. And I know I had that conversation with a couple of people. What do you mean?
How many?
What does that mean? Can you explain?
Pardon?
What do you mean by that? I don't understand what you're saying.
What did they purge off of the voter rolls? How many did they purge? 5, was it?
Yeah.
Like 5,500 or something. It was like a 25 or 30% of our voters.
Yeah. That's quite a change, and I'm wondering if there's some people that were out there that hadn't voted but then want to vote this year and are wanting to. I mean, some people, obviously, it was a college town, some people are gone. It just seemed like a lot of change.
Was that based on 2020 census?
I'm sorry?
The population, yeah.
From the voter. Which election?
It's registered voters that didn't vote the last 2 times or something?
Well, that's who got
It's the
purged.
current voter list from the county clerk and secretary of state is the number of voters that they're working with. Those entities canceled a lot of inactive voters in the last year or 2. They removed them from the voter list.
May I ask, do you know what their definition of inactive?
More than 2 general elections not voting.
State purges the voter rolls a lot.
Yeah, it's done by the Secretary of State's office. It's not.
Is that standard to?
Purge that many at once?
They can kind of do.
I mean, they can want.
I've been purged twice, and I vote every time.
See, that's the wanting to make sure that we're actually dealing with
So,
correctly.
should I speak since it's my ward?
Yeah.
I mean, this is every ward.
Part of council?
So.
Yeah, true.
Well, I wanted to read the letter Charlie sent by her. I'm not sure if all you guys read it. If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and read that. This is from Charlie Breyer of 420 Raymond Street, Morgantown. His thoughts on the second 2-year ward boundary assessments. As a former Morgantown Charter Board member, former City Councilor, and former Ward Boundary Commissioner, I am sharing my thoughts and concerns as an issue I feel needs to address within the city charter. When council changed a few years ago to 4-year staggered terms, our councilors representing our 7 wards, I feel that something else needed to be changed in our charter to match this extended elected term for our city councilors from 2 years to 4 years. A change in the charter to 4-year assessment by the Ward Boundary Commission of the registered voters and census in each ward would then be in better sync with the now staggered 4-year terms of our present council. The latest 4-year assessment would then be used in staggered election years for those running for council. I suggested we put on pause on this 2-year ward boundary assessment presented to council for adoption, which would allow council to consider bringing a proposed 4-year ward boundary assessment and the present staggered 4-year terms of council into a better sync with one another in our city charter. I believe this would address and resolve the awkward charter issue for our present and future council members, and also to be fair to the voters in each of our 7 wards. So that was from Charlie. But my thoughts are, which reason obviously I'm opposed, is because you guys give me no option. I can't run again, period. And that's just wrong. I got voted in, even though I was unopposed, people still took the time to vote for me. And my term ends, when it ends, I can't run again. So who's representing my ward? It doesn't make sense to me. You literally make me wait till 2029 if I do want to run again. And I don't like that option's been taken away from me. It's not right. I don't think you guys would like it if they did that to you. And so anyway, that's just my thoughts. I just think it's not right to leave somebody that was voted in nowhere to go. And if I were to resign and stay in my ward, now 4th ward, I'd have to run against a city council member, which I don't want to do. But then who's going to represent the 3rd ward? So that leaves the 3rd ward again without somebody. And then our last, 2, 3 3rd ward councilors, they all resigned. They don't serve, I don't think, to my knowledge, the last 2 didn't finish out their term. Or maybe 3, I'm not sure. So I know that the 3rd ward's always had a hard time in the past few years of keeping somebody. So I'm dedicated. I'm working really super hard up there, and I think they know that and they see that. You know, but that's just my opinion, guys. But I like what Charlie had to say. I think he's a very knowledgeable man, and he spent a lot of time on the commission. So
I read his letter. I have questions about the logistics described in his letter. If we move from a 2-year cycle to a 4-year cycle for ward and boundary adjustments, we're still gonna hit on someone's off election year. This could happen whether it's a 2-year cycle or a 4-year cycle. Theoretically, the same thing could happen. It's always going to be someone's off election year, right?
So what about tenure with the census?
I think that if you're going to look strictly at population, census makes sense. But this body, a couple of months ago, just in August, directed the Ward and Boundary Commission to look at voters. And that's what they've done. And they have to go by the numbers that are provided by the state. And unfortunately, I mean, it went way down. This does actually give 3rd Ward more registered voters, which is the requirement to run for council. You have to be a registered voter that lives in that ward. This would expand their pool significantly, I think. I don't remember. But I have a hard time, and I attended many of the Ward and Boundary Commission meetings, and I feel like I was warning council periodically throughout. I know in the past years, several of us have attended those meetings. I remember sitting in Christine's office watching with you several times, Jenny. To my knowledge, I'm the only one who attended those meetings this year, which certainly they're recorded. Everyone else may have watched afterwards. But I did try to, as the council person who was attending those meetings, I did try to give some warning, like, it looks like there are significant changes coming. I don't know. I have a hard time with saying, like, they did this to me, or not an exact quote, but something that was said, because the commissioners are tasked with looking at the data, and this actually writes one of the Ward and Boundary Commission members into a different ward, and she did not choose to vote against it because of that. I have watched, and for full disclosure, my husband is on the Ward and Boundary Commission. He was elected as their chair this year, and he has served many more terms on that than I have been on council. His service on the Ward and Boundary Commission more than doubles my time on council. But I have seen firsthand the amount of work that has been put in by the 5 members that we tasked with doing that, and every vote that they had, every map that they looked at, it was all unanimous. If we want to wait until October 15th, which is the voter registration deadline for this general election, and get those voter numbers and see if a lot of people who were purged suddenly re-registered to vote. Maybe that's possible, but I think with the numbers as they are now, it's a very unfortunate situation, and I've not appreciated the implication that it was done on purpose, which I have heard. The data says what the data says, and I watched those 5 people on that commission really toil over this, and they were distraught at times at the changes that the data said had to be made. So I don't want to diminish any of the work or point fingers that anything was done with malice. They certainly did exactly what they are tasked by our charter to do.
Next question. City Attorney, is there requirements in state code as to how we do this in terms of how we split up the wards? Anyway.
There is a general requirement when there are districts in an election that the population be equalized among them, but Morgantown conducts at-large elections, so at least our general approach to that is that for those purposes, the whole city is a district. So there's the ward boundaries for Morgantown are kind of dispersal representation requirements, and I'm not aware of state law requirements for that. I think there's just the city charter.
And what does our charter say about it?
As far as the specifications for ward boundaries, it's in section 7.05. They're to be formed of contiguous territory that follows precinct lines and street boundaries, and to equalize as nearly as possible the total population, considering the most recent available census numbers and voter registration data.
Thanks.
I'm a little uncomfortable with the percent of our voters that were purged. I mean, that just seems like a lot, 25, 30% purged. Before adopting what's been recommended, I would feel more comfortable going through a voting cycle with the general election and just see if something comes forward that, we're off by 10%, these people should still be on the registered voter list. I would feel more comfortable given that high of a percent of people coming off if we were to, let's see if that's accurate before adopting.
And the deadline to register for this general election is in 2 weeks. It's October 15th. So theoretically, anyone who would...
But could you still be purged,
And not
registered
know
to vote, good to go, but you just haven't voted in a couple cycles, and now you go to vote and you're told you're purged?
But you wouldn't then register. Well,
right, you'd
I
be
mean,
past
I guess
the opportunity.
I see what you're saying, though. Maybe they would register directly after that when they go to the polls to realize they can't vote. That would suck.
I mean, if we were talking 5%, 10%, but we're talking 25 to 30% of our city voters being purged, it just seems like we should let that play out and see if that's accurate.
So I'm going to ask real quick. Right now, the motion on the floor is to postpone.
Correct.
Okay. And if we were to vote to accept or decline, we would have to have
Another motion.
Well, I mean, more than that, would we have to
Just some
have
statements.
a statement now since we've had discussion, or?
The requirement requirements in the charter are if the report's approved, then council will later introduce an ordinance. If the report is disapproved, the council shall state the reasons therefore on the minutes of the council meeting. So the minutes can reflect the council members' discussions if those are the reasons you all have and would like to reflect, and that's the way you want to proceed.
I don't know what's, the motion on the floor is to
Postpone.
To
postpone.
So,
So we need to act on that first, don't we?
Yes, I would say, Counselor, you can only act on one of those motions this evening. So there was a motion to.
if we voted no to postpone, would we then have to look for a motion to accept or?
Or disapprove, yes, or the proponent of the motion could also withdraw the motion to postpone if that's how you wish to proceed.
And if we vote yes to postpone, the timeline to take action beyond that postponement is December 1st?
Before the first regular meeting in December.
Okay.
Before the first reading? Okay. So that would be the end of November.
So we could postpone
Yeah.
to a specific meeting, or how do you decide when it comes back?
We could call it a special meeting.
You could choose a specific meeting or not, or you can choose that later.
Like
Yeah,
in November.
You know
The
what,
latest-
guys, I'll go ahead and vote for this, and if I decide to run again, I'll move up to the third ward.
I don't want to make, I don't.
Because obviously,
Hold on.
this is.
I don't want to make a decision on the warden boundaries based on a specific counselor at all.
No.
And I see the arguments for postponing, for sure. I would agree with postponing.
So do we want to postpone to the beginning of November?
As long as it's before December.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And I would suggest after the election to see what.
Yeah, I agree.
Which our first November meeting
It's on Wednesday.
is on a Wednesday.
After the election.
We just have more data to work with, which is
Yeah.
what we should be basing this on. It's just the data.
All right, so the motion on the floor is to postpone.
And just, sorry, one more point of clarification. Would we then, at the date of the November election, I mean, that's a busy time for the county clerk, but I assume we would reach out to her and ask how many City of Morgantown registered voters we have at that time? And see if the numbers are similar?
I don't think they'll know
We could do that, but they may not know by the
They won't
Wednesday the
know anything
6th.
then.
Yeah.
Probably the second meeting in November if we have one. I can't remember off the top of my head because of Thanksgiving. November 20th. Okay. So, yeah, I could get it from city clerk or county clerk.
We could figure it out in time for the
So
deadline.
could we vote on it November 20th, and then the second, I assume there's a second reading, it would be the first meeting of December? Is that permissible?
If council would postpone action on the report until November 20th meeting, then you could, it depends on what action you take, but if you needed to introduce an ordinance to change the ward boundaries, you could introduce that at the first December meeting.
Seems like we're making it pretty tight. Seems like we need to do something.
Couldn't we, I mean, we could call a special meeting to vote on this if we needed to, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
3 of us. No.
Yeah.
Yep.
Once it's gone through a second.
So I think if we're running into issues, whatever, if we need to call a special meeting, we will, but, it would be like, short. Like if the voters' rolls changes significantly, then we'll just reject it.
I don't want to put it so late that we can't operate on it effectively.
Yeah.
So I would do it on that Wednesday after the election, or.
Sure.
Well,
We can, but we won't have the data from the.
We won't have data.
we can try to get initial data after the registration deadline, see if it's varied at all. That's in 2 weeks.
That'll give us an indication.
Yeah, and if it's like a huge jump, then like, obviously, you know?
I think we should reconsider it right after the election, because otherwise, if we're wanting to make some kind of change, we won't have time to really.
Yeah.
I feel like November 5th would be the, or 5th?
November 5th is the election.
November 6th?
November 6th is our meeting.
Okay. But that's going to be too soon to get any kind of data from the clerk, the county clerk.
Yeah.
We could at least discuss it then.
Sure.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Okay, so.
So this is for the motion to postpone.
Okay. On the motion to postpone, Bill
Yes.
Clackey? Reezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Buganim?
Yes, it's postponed until November.
Council meeting is on the 6th, right?
Next, we have consideration of approval of the 2025 City Council meeting calendar. I look to you, City Clerk Wade.
Okay, so in your packet, you will find the 2025 City Council meetings list, and that was based on our meeting on the first and the third Tuesday of every month. We typically take into consideration the National League of Cities conferences and the West Virginia Municipal League conferences. However, we only have one of those dates set for those conferences, and that is listed below on the bottom of your calendar, and that would be the West Virginia Municipal League Annual Conference between August 4th and the 8th. So that would cause an interference for the first August meeting.
I would prefer not to coincide. I know this August, we just canceled our first meeting of the month.
Move to approve.
Like this? That's because you don't go to the conference.
Oh, no, I was
Yeah,
saying,
discussion.
so we can have discussion.
Move to approve, and then,
I
Okay.
just need a second. He said move to approve.
oh, second.
There we go.
So I prefer not to coincide.
No, go ahead.
Do we know where it is this year?
wasn't trying
then? Where does it, because it alternates.
It's in Morgantown.
So we'll be entertaining.
You don't think we should attend?
Too expensive to go there.
I really think it would be very,
Tell them they can come up here and see how
all of the
municipal
council and
government
state attend our own council meeting.
That's right, we can invite them to our meetings.
See how
Or we'll just tell them, hey, everyone, we'll be right back. Like, oh, you guys have quick
3
meetings here? Something like that. Let's see in a few hours.
No, we do not have quick meetings.
Can we move our meeting? Is that an option? Instead of just, because my only concern is we canceled the first one in August this year, and then the 20th was another marathon. So is it, I looked at the attorney and asked if we can move it to the following week, like the 12th, and ask council if that's something that,
Yes, I think we've done that before, and then had the second meeting and the committee of the whole coincide, or skip the committee of the whole that month.
Like the 12th and 26th then, instead of the 5th and 19th.
yeah.
Oh.
So
And then
just
what
the
do you do
12th
with the
and
committee of the
26th?
whole?
Yeah.
Just cancel the committee of the whole?
And no committee of the whole?
Correct.
And you could just tack on committee of the whole type items on the end of it, I guess.
From the
We
beginning.
can do that. We have done that in the past. We've either stacked those meetings or just presented those administratively to council.
Sounds good to me.
I would entertain that motion.
Move it to the 12th, or did,
And
did, you already make that motion?
No one made it. So
Okay.
Second.
Okay.
So the 12th and the 26th.
Well, 12th and the 26th would have been the complete motion, sorry.
So We have a motion on the floor to move the meetings from the 5/19/26, doing away with committee of the whole and moving to the 12th and 26th.
As
Are we
regular
approving the rest
meetings.
of the calendar at the same time, or just?
I think we'll do step
We'll do
by
this
step.
first.
Let's do this first.
Okay.
Do we need to discuss that, or are we good with that?
Good with
In
that.
August.
Vote.
Okay. Bill Queckie?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Buchanan?
Yes, the change passes 7-0. Now, on to the remaining calendar.
I have one question of the clerk. Do we know whether any of these regular or committee of the whole meetings are on Wednesdays, or are they all on Tuesdays this year? We just don't have all the conflicts that we've had other years.
They're all on Tuesdays.
Pardon?
They're all on Tuesdays.
That's what I thought. That's kind of cool. All right. Yeah, I'm ready to vote.
Yeah, we do have a motion. All right.
Okay. Bill Queckie?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Brian Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Buchanan?
Yes, we accept the calendar, 7-0. On to our city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of items that I need to bring council up to date on. Number one is that the airport continues to kind of evolve with SkyWest being nominated or selected as the EAS provider for our airport. They intend to, the latest that we have is they intend to start flying on 13th of December. We can start, individuals can start getting on through the United Portal this week and making reservations. So, but they won't let you make any reservations prior to the 13th. There's a very active marketing program going on to try to encourage the use of this new airline, as well as we've had to make some pretty good significant changes, modifications at the airport to accommodate that airline. Also wanted to report that Ridgewood has closed. They've closed their financial agreement with the bank, and so they're set to go. And as I understand it, the developers is really upped his involvement in designing for that facility, and we intend. I suggested to Russ today that we have a discussion with council, maybe at the next council meeting, that will help council get a view of what the developer has in mind, and I think, and go into great detail at that meeting. The utility work, we've had to get disconnects for all the utilities, which has kind of delayed the demolition activity, but that has now been completed, and there's some change orders that need to be negotiated with the contractor, and so we're hoping within the next 2 weeks we're going to get those, start getting the buildings down. Everything's been taken out of the way for that to happen. And finally, the staff has started using the Monday management concept for managing city projects. Some of you have been approached by Holly, I think, to sit down with her and understand how it works. That can be done by Zoom, by the way. And we'd encourage you to do that. I think the reports I'm getting from staff is that it's much easier to use, and I think it'll be much more meaningful to City Council. So I'd encourage your participation in getting the training you need to be able to update yourself on city projects that are going on and city activities. That's all I have. Thank you.
From our city clerk.
Yes, so I'm going to follow up on our Municipal Government Week. I just sent you all an invitation for Thursday, October 17th for the Touch a Truck event. We would like for council and administration, if you would like to attend at North Elementary, we welcome you all to be there and interact with the kids as well. So I sent that to you on your calendar if you'd like to participate. Also on Wednesday, the 16th, will be the Employee Appreciation Day, and I'm just about to send that to you. What we plan on doing is what we did last year, and that is to go to every city building and take our cotton candy machine and make cotton candy for all the employees. We make sure that every employee gets one, even if they're not there. If they're on an off shift, we'll write their name on a bag and give it to them. We also have goodie bags for them, and I think it would be really nice if City Council or administration had wanted to come along. That would be great. So I invite you all to that event as well. We have Police Civil Service Commission entry-level police officer exams this weekend. It's Saturday at 9 a.m. at the Public Safety Building at 300 Spruce Street. We do have about 35 folks who have applied already, but it's not too late. I ordered extra tests, so if we have some late comers that would like to apply, they can certainly do that. And there is a link on the Morgantown Police website. If you click on their site, there's a link to apply now, and it directly comes to the city clerk's office, and they're ready to go. That's link is also on our city's website at morgantownwv.gov. So we still want folks, so continue to spread the word. Our Fire Civil Service Commission will be holding an open house this weekend, Saturday at 10:30 a.m. and that is an open house to give folks who may be interested in becoming a firefighter to participate in the agility exam that they would take if they were applying. We welcome you all to come. It's going to be at the Northside Fire Station at 1000 Van Boris Road. It's a time where folks can talk to the firefighters and actually run through the agility exam, get some hints on how best to complete the exam. And so that is Saturday, October 5th at 10:30 a.m. at Northside Fire Station. There will be a second open house on Sunday, October 20th, and that will be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Same thing, the ability to run through that exam with the firefighters. All of that information is on our website, and if folks are interested in that, they can go to our website and search job opportunities, and they will find a link to a fire department job interest form, so they can fill that out. It comes to my office, and we'll get them all the information they need. They do not have to come to both open houses. They do not have to come to either one of them, but we are accepting applications for firefighters now. We have a link on our website to do that also online, and that is a lights out process for folks. They can apply at any time. As always, reach out to the clerk's office, and we'll be glad to guide them through that process. One last thing, the Morgantown Parking Authority is running a Toys for Tots event, and if you donate a toy valued at $10 or more to be entered into a drawing for a 24-hour parking permit at our Spruce Street, University Avenue, or Wharf parking garages. And so items can be dropped off at the Public Safety Building at 300 Spruce Street between October 1st and December 2nd. And This is a great cause, Toys for Tots. The first prize is 6 months of free parking, which is $660 value.
Oh, wow.
Second prize is 3 months of free parking at a $345 value, and third prize is 1 month of free parking at a $115 value. The drawing will take place on December 5th at noon. So again, Morgantown Parking Authority, I'm sure that on their website, all of this information is on there, but we just wanted to share the information this evening. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. And City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. It's nice to see our grant writer, Robin Hess, here tonight. Talking about the pro-housing grant is very exciting, but she, along with your management and their staff, have been doing great work identifying and being proactive about applying for grant funds that are available, which are much more available now than they had been in the past. I know getting a grant writer on board had been a long-time project of the council, and it's really put the city in a position where it's making some great strides. We'll continue working with them and the consultants and staff to support implementation of those projects when they receive the funds, and appreciate doing that work. Council passed tonight on first reading the not to exceed $11 million in Building Commission lease revenue bonds to fund the additional improvements to the Marilla Park. Those will be scheduled for your second reading October 15th, as well as the Building Commission's second reading and approval October 15th. And if passed, the contract award and bond closing will actually be set to begin early next year based on the engineer's project schedule. We'll work through additional design with them, some ancillary property details, and getting that under bid if the project moves forward. That's all I have to report this night.
All right, thank you. Report from council. Usually we start with you, Bill, so I'm going to switch it up.
Go ahead.
We'll go this way.
You can go over this
today.
way. Sure. I have much to report. One thing I did want to say is just that I had sent an email like on August 14th to city staff and the grant writer about the pro-housing grant, and then here we are today. So I just cannot say how grateful I am for you guys taking initiative on that grant. And I mean, truly, if we were able to get those funds, I think like the ability for us to continue to get them would be really impactful for our city. And so I appreciate that work. Other than that, I don't know, disappointed that we didn't move our elections. I do feel it's anti-democratic, and we complain a lot about voter engagement. We need to do something tangible to get voters engaged, and I think this is a real loss for the city to not turn this over to the city election. And confused, I guess, a little bit about it, but that's it. Thanks.
All right.
An update on the Mon River Rail Trail Conservancy, the largest fundraiser of the year has been taking place. It's the Century Ride, where riders pledge to ride the whole 100-plus miles of the trail and get donations for the ride or by the mile. And the goal has been to try to replace this ride with the funds that were generated in the past from the Deckers Creek Half Marathon. So the goal has been to exceed $20,000, and we're well on our way to doing that. And the riders will continue through the end of next week. There's a 2-week window where the riders are dedicating their ride to take place. And so we're in the midst of that. And there were 3 miles that were just resurfaced just north of Star City that are completed now, from the edge of where the pavement ends in Star City, roughly mile 13 or 6 to 3, as you go towards Point Marion. It's a nice new surface. And there is a Morgantown Utility Board meeting next week at this time, so if you all have any questions or anything that has come up tonight or comes to mind before, then please let me know. I'm happy to take that to the meeting.
Are you doing that ride?
My wife and I teamed up with 2 others. We did a third of it. So she was Team Trillium with 2 other female riders.
All right. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
I was happy to donate to Team Calacane. I am friends with one of the parents, and their 9-year-old son approached me and told me he was doing a third of the ride. And I said, if you're doing, he said, I'm going to do 40 miles. I said, if you're doing 40 miles, I will sponsor you for 40 miles, kid. Like, that's more than I want to do. So,
Excellent.
they completed their ride this past weekend. I got an update today from Ron Justice, who serves on the board of Morgantown Community Resources with me. The triage shelter, Grace Shelter, is at least partially open. I don't know that they are completely at their 28-bed capacity yet, but they are working towards getting there. At least I got an email. I'm not sure who all it went to. They are looking for some donations of some snacks and beverages and laundry supplies. I put that out on my social media. I know that it's out on their social media, so if you have the ability, consider that. As of yesterday, the Bartlett House is no longer occupying any space at Hazel's House of Hope. We are currently in talks with some other organizations who will be taking over the rooms and apartments that are located above the triage shelter that Bartlett House had been renting out previously. Those people have not been displaced at this time. We are working with other organizations to keep them there as we are able to, and move forward and get the rest of that space filled, because those were not filled either. I was told that 30 people a day or more have been visiting the day room lately, and the laundry and shower services continue to grow. I'm also told that we are looking at, we are in serious discussions. I know that we've been looking at this, but we are now in serious discussions about using the former sobering center space as a potential place for a warming shelter for the winter, to expand the capacity there a little. So hopefully that works out, because the cold weather's coming. Friday, there are so many events downtown.
Yeah.
Just a few. The Arts Council is doing their first Friday for the arts, and this month it is in conjunction with the Arts Walk, so those will both happen from 6 to 9 p.m. The Zombie Walk is also going to take place during that time. People dress up and go up and down High Street. It's a very interesting thing to witness if you've never seen, so I hope that a lot of these events work together to bring a lot of people downtown. Saturday, of course, will be our annual Hops on the Mon event, put on by some local business folks. My husband and I are volunteering at that, as we do every year. There is a sign-up sheet. I'm sure she is still looking for more volunteers. She always is. If you have availability on Saturday, usually you can schedule for half a day, either the first half of the event or the second half of the event, or if you're feeling really excited, you can volunteer the whole time. Oh, sorry, Grace Hutchins from Apothecary. She is the organizer of that event. I see that the mayor also purchased, I have on tonight a breast cancer awareness shirt that was a fundraiser done for breast cancer awareness by the Morgantown firefighters. When I went there to pick up my shirt the other day, the guys are always so friendly and helpful, and I had my son with me. They were showing him around and letting him look at tools and trucks and all of that fun stuff. One of them drug the dummy out. We were talking about the upcoming open house, and I was like, oh, no, I can't do that. He's like, here's the dummy. You want to see how heavy it is? I cannot carry a 170-pound dummy down a ladder, so I hope they don't anticipate me doing that, but I'm told maybe I just have to drag it. So I do hope that I can stop into the open house before my Hops on the Mon volunteer shift starts. I'm told that it's a very interesting and fun time, so looking forward to that. Just wanted to mention a thank you to the guys at the Northside Fire Station who entertained my son on a rainy Friday afternoon last week. So.
Thank you.
I sure appreciate everyone who worked on writing the grant and our grant writers' presence and concise but full explanation of how we are going to work on housing in our area. I think that we have some major difficulties with people coming here to work any number of different types of jobs and not being able to find housing in our area, even though they'd like to take advantage of our schools, take advantage of our neighborhoods. So anything we can do to encourage the reclamation and refurbishing of existing homes, the ability to have accessory dwelling units on properties where there is, in areas where there is parking available. Some areas of our town, it's really hard because of parking, but the things that we can do to make sure that we have housing available for those who need it as they find, as they take the numerous jobs that are in our area and need that housing. There's nothing sadder than hearing that someone moved to a community nearby and said, I really wanted to live in Morgantown, but I just couldn't. So I very much appreciate the instigation of that and the people who worked on it. And the consulting firm that worked on it. It makes a big difference when we put forth an application, and then if we don't get it, we just persevere and put it in again. I do look forward to all the events this weekend, and it's cool on Friday how many different, like the Soul Miners, who I love, are playing. I need to find out what times they're playing. Who else? The Soul Miners, the Art Lab is opening, that zombie walk. I've never dressed up for the zombie walk. I'm considering it. They really do mow and put their hands out and have excellent makeup, which is the thing that I can find the costume, but the makeup I'm not good at. So if you see someone with really crappy makeup on, that'd probably be me. But anyway, I just sounds like wonderful event on Friday. And that can be enough for me. Thanks.
I really don't have a lot. The October 30th, they're having, at the Coliseum, they're going to do the trick or trunk.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's a huge event at the Coliseum. I worked it last year and I'm working it this year. There are a couple thousand kids there. But that would be on the 30th at, I believe it's at 6 o'clock they start lining up. So that's all I have. I'll pass the bill.
Just a quick comment with the presentation we had tonight from Robin Hess. For the longest time, I was passing all the things that came across my desk, all these grant possibilities to Robin, only to find that every time I did, she said, oh yeah, I know, I did that.
She does.
That woman is tuned in to any grant that you could think of, and I believe she's hardwired. But grateful to have her, and certainly she's given us advantage that we hadn't had in the past. But I think that all of our administration, we have made progress that really keeps us, and I can say this here to a very small audience, keeps us at the forefront of the municipalities that are in West Virginia. And I think we compete even nationally with what we have to offer, so I'm pleased with that. I would like to know how to access Monday.com, though. I know that it's available, and I'll make sure that I get in touch with Holly and see if she can't educate
She'll be
her.
reaching out to you too if you don't.
Thank you. And that's all I have.
All right, before I go, you wanted to mention?
I just wanted to mention that the 6th, this Sunday, is the Botanic Garden has a children's festival, and they usually have, I don't know, 400 kids or more, maybe 500. They have a lot of kids that come out for that, and it's like from 1:30 to 4:30, and it's an excellent event if you're looking for something with your kids.
All right. Let's see, what do I have? I guess I should start by letting everyone know I won't be here October 14th. Is that our next meeting? It's 15th. As a reminder, I will be in Iceland, so I'm not sure how sorry I am, but I won't be able to attend.
You won't be able to come to a delightful meeting that
Over
day?
Zoom, I will be looking at the Northern Lights, so once in a lifetime, well,
Yeah.
it's a bucket list trip for me and my family, so I'm very excited. So with that said, I'm going to point out some things that I would have announced then. One being that it is going to be Arbor Day, October 19th here in the city of Morgantown. And at Jack Roberts Park, the trees that were so controversial when they were removed, we're going to be planting their replacements and having a ribbon cutting ceremony at 10 a.m. And the tree board is going to do a walk in the park to explain all the different trees and why they were chosen, and also answer any questions any of the neighbors may have in regards to trees and tree selection and just all the great tree stuff. And the game is at noon, so if anyone would like to come and learn about trees, you'll have plenty of time to get home to watch that. The streets have been approved, so thank you to our city manager, as well as to Carol and to our Morgantown Police Department for helping with closing off Madigan Avenue for Halloween. My neighbors love that. They're real excited about it. And I would like to also thank the ambassadors for being so gracious with the high school kids and giving us that tour of the downtown area. And it was all three of them and then the kids that were here today. Jesse, Travis, and Cam. And they took us to several different businesses to meet them and promote everything going on. And the kids' parents actually reached out to me, appreciative of what the city had to offer. And I was happy to say that I was just a deputy ambassador, and it was all our wonderful ambassadors in charge of organizing all of that. I look forward, I already filled out my waiver for October 5th to do the fitness firefighter agility test. You all can come laugh at me if you want, or be impressed. I'm not sure how it's going to go. Could go either way. Thank you to our firefighters also for this fundraiser for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I lost 2 aunts, and my cousin was she was diagnosed when she was 22, it was 2007. So she was diagnosed in 2007 at 22 years of age, but she is still here with us and cancer-free. So I always appreciate these fundraisers. And let's see, I think that was, when it comes to First Fridays, I am also looking forward to what the museum has to offer. I believe they are starting to look towards different West Virginia monsters, including the Ogawa, which is Morgantown's own native monster. A lot of people don't know about. I taught you about the Ogawa last year.
Is it the snake?
No, it's the two-headed turtle that lives in the Mon River.
Two-headed turtle?
Yeah, I'm serious.
I thought we had like the snake that was in the Arboretum.
Well, there's the snake too, yeah. The Saberton serpent.
Saberton, I thought it was a python.
Well, serpent sounds better.
That's fair. But the Ogawa it's one of our own, and people don't know. It's great.
We need to learn more.
I'll run a class for it.
Maybe we could have somebody come and speak about it.
There's like some a sports team around that has it as its
There's a
mascot?
youth wrestling team that are called the Ogawas. That's crazy. Out of Morgantown High. It's, I don't know.
And how would you even know about that?
Yeah, I know.
A sport like wrestling.
Wrestling, yeah. It's as if they're having their bingo event October 27th to raise money for their team at 1 p.m. at Morgantown High. But I digress. And then that is my full report. So now that I got all of that out of the way, I am entertaining a motion.
Yeah, we need to move to pursuant to West Virginia State Code Section 6-9A4B12 to discuss matters protected by attorney-client privilege. That almost sounds like vitamins.
All right. Thank you.